The next question is, I want to know why Dar Al Hijrah offers Jummah prayers before Dhuhr, when all the schools of thought except the Hanaabila say it's not allowed, and the Dar Al Hijrah is definitely not following the Hanbali school. And we had spoken about this a couple of times. The first time we had talked about why is it that Dar Al Hijrah allows the Salatul Jummah before Dhuhr time comes in. You can go back to the old Q&As. The second question that we had addressed is like, okay, what madhab does Dar Al Hijrah follow? And we said that because we deal with a multi-madhab community, that we give fatwa based on those different madhab. There's no specific madhab here at Dar Al Hijrah. Like we said, we actually do a lot of talfiq. We take a lot of different opinions from different schools in order to help facilitate for the community the more expansiveness and more inclusiveness so that we can facilitate many of the prayers and many of the things that we do here. Is it okay for us to eat chicken at the grocery store or restaurant if it is not halal? Well, number one, you shouldn't be eating anything that's not halal, right? You should always eat things that are halal. The question is how do you define halal? And that is something that is a very important, a very fundamental question. And again, this is a question I had addressed previously, is that according to the different schools of thought, how is it that we deal with meat here in the United States? And we had said that the two basic opinions boil down to, is taking Allah's name at the time of slaughter a condition or is it not? And we said very classically, the Hanafis, they say that it is a condition, and classically the Shafis, they say it is not a condition. And for those who say that it is not a condition, then this will also extend to Ahl Kitab. It'll extend to the people of the book. And if you believe that America is a country of the people of the book, this is why people will eat the chicken, and this is why they won't have a problem, for example, going to Chick-fil-A's or buying the chicken from the grocery store. So it really depends on your individual madhab and what you follow and what it is that you believe. For those who eat it, they have a proof and they have their reasoning, and I think it's sound. And for those who don't eat it, I think they have a proof, and I think their reasoning is also sound. Assalamu alaikum, Imam Farhan. Dar Al Hijrah has become a promotional agent for... Fadlan. Okay. Has become a promotional agent for what? Become the promotional agent of controversial home financing company Guidance Residential. I have never seen any Imam invite... Okay. I'm sorry. They're small boxes, so it's difficult to read sometimes. I have never seen any Imam to invite mass people to attend Guidance Residential's so-called Islamic finance event held outside the house of Allah, where only goodness is supposed to be served. Guidance Residential is not 100% Shariah compliant according to many scholars, including Amja, for many reasons. When companies like this invite in the sacred house of Allah that has to be 100% Shariah compliant without any doubt, this is really alarming and frustrating that we are being invited by Imam and management that is not fully compliant and free of doubts. So there are a few things here. You've mentioned the word doubt a number of times. There are scholars who sit on Guidance's council, from them Taqi Usmani's son, who say that it is completely reasonable, it is 100% Sharia compliant. If there's an issue that an individual has with a particular company and a business and the way that they're operating that business, then it is up to the person and up to the individual to make that. We do not endorse anyone. Anybody who wants to offer a service to the Muslim community, we give them a platform and we allow them to do that, as long as it is not something that is a clearly haram, right? So here, when we talk about clarity, even you yourself say that there is doubt. Anything that there is doubt in, then it is upon the community to determine individually on whether they want to utilize that service or not. And how do we do this? And a very clear example of this, halal restaurants. There are halal restaurants that have certain certifications that some people are okay with. And there are certain halal certifications that people are not okay with. And there are certain places that certain people will not shop at. That is up to your personal discretion. Here as a masjid, we do not tell people where to shop. As a masjid, we do not tell people where to buy. We do not tell people what services to utilize and what not to utilize. And if there's an issue that is a gray issue, and if there's an issue of doubt, then that is upon the individual to do their own research. We will provide the platform for any service that is being offered to the Muslim community. And whether the individual wants to utilize that service or not, I'm not here to dictate. I want to be very clear. I am not going to stop people. I'm not going to stop individuals. I'm not going to stop businesses from coming and offering their services at Dar Al Hijrah because of what I feel as a person, as an individual. If there is something that has doubt, whether I agree with it or not is irrelevant. Is the business haram? I want you to come and tell me that. And if you can tell me 100% that it is haram, khalas, we'll talk. Will I allow someone who sells pork to come into Dar Al Hijrah to offer their service? Absolutely not. Somebody who sells alcohol? Absolutely not. Somebody who wants to advocate for gay marriage in the gay community? Absolutely not. Somebody who wants to advocate for transgender surgery? Absolutely not. These are services, I don't care who you are. These are services that we all agree are not permissible, and they will not be offered in the house of Allah. But who are you and who am I to dictate to any person in this community that you have to use this service or you don't have to use this service? I have no right. I have no right. Services that people and individuals utilize, businesses that people choose to utilize, this is their own personal discretion. I have no right to dictate where people should shop. I have no right to dictate what services people should use. If you don't like guidance, ya akhi, don't use it. And if you want to use guidance, use it. Because this is your own personal discretion. People make decisions not based on what you think. People don't make decisions based on what I think. You know why? Because each and every single one of us has to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah is not going to ask me about you, and He's not going to ask you about me. When I stand in front of Allah, I need to be convinced. And if I'm convinced, that's enough. And are there scholars who side with them? Yes, there are. And there are scholars who say, oh, this is 100% compliant. What are you going to go say to them? Go argue with them. Why are you arguing with me? And for those scholars, you say, well, Amjad says this. Okay, what if I don't agree with Amjad? Do I have to? Am I obligated now to agree with this council? Is this a Shariah obligation for me? No, it's not. I'm obligated to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As for individuals and as for councils, they are advisory bodies and they're people who I respect. So please don't misunderstand. The Amjad Council is a council that I respect, is a council that I hold in high standing, but you cannot obligate people to listen to every single person's fatwa. That's not fair. Because a fatwa is an individual or a council's understanding of how to apply the Quran and the Sunnah. And if there's room for a difference of opinion on an issue, then I cannot come and decide for the congregation what opinion that congregation should follow. I have no right to do that. And even the salah time, which is what we had spoken about previously, if I'm not comfortable praying before Dhuhr comes in, you know what I do? I don't come for that salah. The idea is to offer services for people who want to take advantage of the service as long as it is halal. And how do I know it's halal? Because there's khilaf. The moment that I recognize and you recognize and we recognize as a community that there is khilaf and there is a difference of opinion over this issue, then I have the obligation to step away. Because this is not an issue of lying. It's not an issue of cheating. It's not an issue of drinking alcohol. It's not an issue of eating pork. It's not an issue of making shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are all things that we agree on are qati'iyat, and they are absolutely haram without any question. But those things that have a question mark over them, let the people choose. They will make their own decisions. And is it possible that I care more about your decisions than you do? Ma'qul? Does that make sense? Like, you care more about your decisions. Like, I will always care more about my decisions than anybody else. Why? Because I know my situation. I know my family. I know my decisions. I care more about what I do than what anybody, other people can care. They claim they care more about me, but that's arrogance. Every single person in here wants to go to paradise. Every single person in here wants to stay away from the hellfire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enter us into His paradise and protect us from His hellfire. Ameen. And if I understand that, then everybody's responsible for themselves. I can help and I can give options, but I can't make a decision on behalf of anyone. And if there's a service that's available, whether I agree with it or not, and this is an important lesson that I want everyone to take away with, whether I agree with the service or not, I have no right to dictate at all that who comes and who doesn't go, as long as it is a khilafi issue. I have a choice on whether I want to attend or I don't attend. And if you want to file a complaint, I appreciate that. I really do. Complaints are what help our community grow. Differences is what helps our community grow because it allows for discussion. But when it's not a discussion, when you say you have to do this and you're wrong, I'm sorry, that's not a discussion. You're just telling me what I have to do. And if I'm not doing that with you, please, ya ikhwan, don't do that with me and don't do that with the masjid. The last question, how do I learn my prayers? This is a good question. How does an individual learn their prayers? I would say by enrolling in classes. Right, so there are a lot of different institutions that are available online. There are a lot of different programs that we have. There are a lot of YouTube channels that are available that offer all these services. Walillahi alhamd, here at Dar Al Hijrah, we actually completed ibadat. We went through Al-Umda, which is a Hanbali primer. It's an introductory text to the Hanbali madhab. And we went through the entirety of wudu, of tahara. We went through salah. We went through zakat. We went through fasting. We went through hajj. And the videos are available on our YouTube page. They're available on our website. And there are other institutes that offer similar services. If you're not comfortable, you say, no, you know what, I'm not Hanbali, I don't want to learn this. Brother Uthman Jilo, Ustad Uthman, he gives a class every single Monday in Fiqh al-Shafi'i. For those who want to attend, that class is available. If you want to learn another madhab, there are other teachers out there who are teaching this. Alhamdulillah, we live in an era where there is no shortage of classes, there is no shortage of ilm. There's just a shortage of raghbah and drive. Because we have all of these services, many of us unfortunately are not taking advantage of them. So the services that are there, anybody who wants to learn can learn, and the skills are there, the books are there, the classes are there. Take advantage of them. And if I feel that I'm not in a space or in a place where I have access to these things, then I only have two pieces of advice, and this advice is for everyone. This is for myself and for the entire community. I need to do two things. I need to connect with the community, and I need to connect with my local scholar. If I can do these two things, I will find an answer to 90% of my problems, inshallah. Because when I connect to the community knows the community. And if I connect to a local scholar, he will help me find the answers that I'm looking for. Is it necessary that that scholar has all the answers? No, absolutely not. But at least he can connect them to someone who does. And this is the idea of the community, that we serve as a gateway to help one another, and as an imam or as a scholar or whatever the position might be, that he is able to help people Islamically and help them spiritually. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq.